The wail of sirens sliced through the flawless summer afternoon as 3 police cruisers screeched to a halt in front of my house on Maple Ridge Drive. From my backyard, I watched through the gate as every guest froze mid-sentence. Champagne glasses suspended in mid-air, while uniformed officers advanced toward the pool deck. Then, from the sidewalk, a shrill voice knifed through the jazz trio's gentle saxophone like a dull blade. "That's right, officers. They're all back there breaking at least 12 HOA rules." The voice belonged to none other than Karen Whitfield, our self-crowned neighborhood tyrant, standing at the curb with arms folded and a victorious sneer smeared across her face. What happened next would be retold at every block party for years to come. Officer Martinez rounded the corner first. His practiced mask of impartiality wavered the instant his gaze landed on someone near the pool. That someone was Isabella Chen, gliding forward with the effortless command that only comes from being raised in the state's most influential political dynasty. Let me rewind to earlier that day. After 6 brutal months of construction, my backyard had finally emerged from its former life as a sad rectangle of crabgrass into what my contractor proudly dubbed resort-style living. The brand new pool gleamed beneath the June sun, framed by natural flagstone and landscaping so impeccable it actually surpassed every petty HOA standard, though Karen would sooner gargle bleach than admit it. I'd invited roughly 30 people to celebrate. Co-workers from the tech company where I'm a senior developer, neighbors who'd smiled through the jackhammers and dust, and relatives I hadn't seen since Christmas. My cousin Marcus had asked if he could bring his new girlfriend, Isabella. I told him sure, never imagining that the name Chen carried more clout in the state than every bylaw Karen had ever photocopied. The party kicked off at 2:00 p.m. well inside approved hours. A local jazz trio played tasteful acoustic covers at a volume low enough that Mrs. Henderson, 2 houses down, could still hear her afternoon game shows. Rosewood Bistro caterers had arranged elegant food stations around the deck, and everyone was genuinely enjoying themselves. That's when I spotted Karen's silhouette in her second-story window across the street, binoculars glinting like a sniper scope. Her house a beige shrine to sameness set perfectly positioned for surveillance. Minutes late, she was power walking across the cul-de-sac in her uniform intact, pressed khaki shorts, polo with HOA President embroidered over the heart, and the ever-present clipboard welded to her hand. "Excuse me," she declared, letting herself through my side gate without knocking. The trio stumbled over a cord as she stormed onto the deck. "This gathering requires prior written HOA approval, which I know you never submitted." I set my drink down and walked over her wearing my friendliest smile. "Good afternoon, Karen. Plenty of food if you'd like to join us." Her face cycled through deeper shades of crimson. "I am not here to socialize. I am here in my official capacity. Gatherings over 20 require permits. Live entertainment needs board approval. And your noise level is currently 68 decibels. She brandished a gadget that looked like it belonged on a bomb squad. "The limit is 65. Karen," I said, keeping my voice even. "It's Saturday afternoon. City noise ordinance doesn't start until 10 p.m. And even then it's 75 until midnight. Don't you dare quote rules at me." I authored half of them. Behind her, I noticed Isabella lean in and murmur something to a tall man in sunglasses I'd mistaken for just another guest. I now realized he carried himself like executive protection. Karen wasn't finished. "I'm also counting at least 30 bodies, a clear violation of Section 12, subsection 3. That catering van has been in the driveway for 25 minutes already. Commercial vehicles are limited to 30. Your new pool equipment wasn't submitted for architectural review. And those string lights are not on the pre-approved fixture list." She scribbled like she was drafting indictments. The music had stopped entirely. Every guest watched the drama like it was premium cable. "Karen," I tried again, "I have stamped permits inside if you want to see them. And there's no approval needed for a private weekend gathering that follows city noise laws." She stepped closer, dropping her voice to a venomous hiss. "Listen, Mr. Code Monkey, I've run this HOA for 8 years. Nobody defies me. You have 10 minutes to shut this down, or I'm calling the police." I actually smiled. "That seems a little dramatic." I even invited you. I don't care if you invited the governor himself," she shrilled, making half the guests flinch. 10 minutes, she pivoted and marched back to her fortress, clipboard raised like a battle standard. Marcus wandered over as soon as Karen slammed her front door. "Bro, is she always like that? Last month, she tried to fine the Johnsons $500 because their trash cans were visible for 61 minutes. Isabella joined us, eyes sparkling with amusement. "She's dedicated. She threatens to call the cops at least once a month," I said, shrugging. "They never show, except this time." 15 minutes later, 3 cruisers rolled up with lights spinning. Guests shifted nervously as officers filed through the gate. Karen had planted herself on the sidewalk again, practically glowing with vindication. "Officers," she sang out. "Karen Whitfield, HOA president. Illegal gathering, multiple violations, and the homeowner became hostile when I attempted enforcement. Officer Martinez, clearly a man who'd seen every flavor of suburban crazy, stepped into the backyard with calm authority. His younger partner, Officer Kim, followed. Martinez opened his mouth to speak. "Good afternoon, everyone," he began. "We received a call about a possible disturbance," Officer Martinez continued, scanning the relaxed crowd in swimsuits and sunglasses. I stepped forward right away. "Officers, David Reeves, homeowner, there's no disturbance. This is a private pool party, completely within city noise ordinances and all posted times." Karen shoved past Officer Kim like a linebacker. "That's an outright lie. They have no permits. I'm president, I would know." Officer Martinez raised a calm palm. "Ma'am, I'll need you to step back and let me do my job." He turned to me. "Sir, do you have any documentation for the gathering?" "Renovation permits are inside, stamped and approved," I said. "As for the party itself, there's no permit required for fewer than 50 people on a Saturday afternoon. We're at 30 max. It's barely 4 o'clock." That's when Isabella glided forward, the man in sunglasses shadowing her like he was paid to do exactly that because he was. "Officer Martinez," she said pleasantly, but with the kind of voice that makes rooms go quiet. The officer did a small double take. "Miss Chen?" Recognition hit him like a wave. "I didn't realize you'd be here." She offered the warm, practiced smile that had been on campaign posters since she was 12. "My boyfriend and I are visiting his cousin. It was a perfectly peaceful afternoon until roughly 20 minutes ago." She handed over her state-issued ID with the subtle gold seal that makes cops stand straighter. Officer Kim peeked at it and immediately squared his shoulders. Karen, still oblivious, kept going. "I don't care whose niece she is, rules are rules. I want citations for noise, unpermitted assembly, and harassment." Officer Martinez's entire posture changed. He pivoted to Karen with the weary patience of a man who just realized he was babysitting. "Ma'am, can you explain why this required 3 patrol units with lights and sirens? It's an illegal gathering," Karen declared, chin high. "They're disturbing the peace." "At 4 in the afternoon?" Officer Kim asked, eyebrow arched so high it nearly touched his cap. "Within legal limits?" They were at 68 decibels. Karen waved her little spy meter triumphantly. "The limit is 65. Martinez glanced at the device and sighed. "Ma'am, the city noise ordinance doesn't apply until 10 p.m., and even then, it's 75. You called 911 for a non-emergency. That's misuse of emergency services, a misdemeanor." Karen's face went the color of printer paper. Isabella's security guy had his phone up, recording in full 4,000. Half my guests were doing the same. Martinez kept going, voice harder now. "You disrupted a lawful private gathering attended by a member of the governor's family and her protective detail. That opens you to additional charges." Karen's mouth flapped open and closed. The governor's." Isabella stepped closer, smile sweet enough to rot teeth. "My uncle is a big believer in neighbors watching out for one another," she said, voice like honey over a razor blade. "He's less enthusiastic about fake 911 calls that pull officers away from actual crimes." Martinez nodded. "Ma'am, I need your ID. We're taking a statement about why you believe this was an emergency." Karen's hands shook so badly Thatch dropped her wallet twice. Officer Kim already had his citation book out. Are you aware that Mrs. of 911 can carry a fine of up to $5,000 and possible jail time? Jail? Karen squeaked. But I'm the HOA president. Your job description doesn't include filing false police reports, Martinez said. He turned to me. Mr. Reeves, do you wish to press charges for harassment and false reporting? I caught Isabella's tiny head shake. As satisfying as it would have been, I didn't want the woman in an orange jumpsuit. Not today, officer. But I do want this on record in case she tries it again. Martinez nodded. Fair enough. He turned back to Karen and handed her a freshly written warning citation. Formal warning for misuse of emergency services. Fine is $750. Payable within 30 days. I'm also recommending the HOA board review your fitness to serve. Given your confusion between civil covenants and criminal law. Karen stared at the paper like it was written in Aramaic. $750. But I'm the president. Not for long. Someone in the crowd coughed, sparking a ripple of laughter. Isabella raised her champagne flute. To neighborhood hospitality, she said, eyes twinkling at me, and to hosts who actually read the rules. The backyard exploded in cheers and applause. Even officers Martinez and Kim cracked smiles as they headed out. Karen slunk off the property, clutching her useless clipboard and brand new citation, muttering about appeals. 3 days late, the community center was packed. An emergency HOA meeting had been called, and it felt like every resident who'd ever received one of Karen's pastel-colored violation notices showed up with popcorn. Karen sat in the middle of the long table, looking like she hadn't slept since Saturday. Vice President Richard Kumar gavelled the meeting to order. We are here to discuss the incident involving misuse of emergency services by our current president. Karen tried one last defense, voice wobbling. I was only protecting property values. You were wasting police resources, Treasurer Patricia Gwynn snapped. Do you have any idea how ridiculous we look right now? One by one neighbors stood. The Johnsons recounted the trash can fiasco. The Patels brought receipts for the sidewalk chalk citation. Mr. Yamamoto played the voicemail Karen left, threatening to seize his 14-year-old tabby cat for unauthorized sunbathing in a window. Then Richard read the letter from the governor's office, short, polite, and absolutely lethal. It expressed concern over the misuse of emergency resources and trust that the HOA would handle the matter appropriately. The vote to remove Karen Whitfield as president and bar her from any board position for 5 years was unanimous. The gavel fell like a guillotine. Karen sat frozen, mouth open. This is my life's work, she whispered to no one. Security walked her out while she hugged her now meaningless clipboard like a life raft. The $750 poorer, publicly humiliated, and officially dethroned. As the doors closed behind her, I heard her still muttering about lawsuits and appeals. But for the first time in 8 years, Maple Ridge Drive was quiet, sunny, and blissfully Karen-free.